maybe a bit earlier. Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the second session of today, first this afternoon, on week 2 of the Festival of Startups. I'm Alex Chisnell, Content Director, host of #1 rated podcast, Screw It, Just Do It, and I am joined by Lucy Hall. Lucy, good morning, good afternoon. How are you doing today?
I'm well, thank you.
And whereabouts in the world are you broadcasting from?
I am broadcasting from my kitchen table in Kent.
In Kent. Whereabouts in Kent are you?
So in Maidstone.
Okay. Yep. Very good. Okay. Well, welcome. Thank you for joining us today. So Lucy is going to be providing us with a jargon-free session, taking you back to the basics, how to get started with social media marketing, how to engage and sell through social media marketing. And I think this fits in really well because the next session we've got at 2 o'clock is by a good friend of mine, Ollie Whittle, talking about creating successful Facebook and Instagram ads. So it should fit in seamlessly with today's program, I'm thinking. So really looking forward to this one. Those of you, I can see familiar faces on the attendees. Those of you who've been with us throughout last week and this week, thank you for attending. We're getting all the past replays up so you can catch up with my interviews with the likes of Lush founder Rowena Bird, Cobra Beer founder Lord Billamoria, Piers Linney from Dragon's Den. All of the amazing sessions we've had thus far are going on a couple of places, Festival of Enterprise YouTube channel and also on Festival of Enterprise website, I believe. So do check in to see the sessions being updated. And again, it's probably the most common question I get asked is, when is the replay going to be available? So again, if you find this really valuable from Lucy, do share the link with other people that you think are going to find this of value as well. Okay, and a couple of buttons just to make you aware of. Look, I see someone fired off some emojis there. Down on the right hand side, maybe I'll show you first of all, you've got chat and you've got questions button. So live chat, literally use it to comment, use it to ask questions, use it to connect, pop in your LinkedIn profile. You know, normally we'd be face to face at a live event doing all of those good things. Next best thing is here on a virtual platform like AirMeet. So use the live chat tab. Also the question tab is below that. So I'm getting a mixture of people posing questions in there and questions in the chat. So I will flip between the two. Lucy's going to start off with her slide and is going to take us through a number of different slides. So comment and ask questions as you go, and then we'll position them to Lucy towards the end. So maybe 35, 45 minutes, depending on how we go, and then open to another 10, 15 minutes of questions at the end. So really looking forward to this one. So Lucy Hall is the founder of Social Day UK, as well as being the founder of Digital Women. So I can imagine you probably do a lot of live events as well, Lucy, and have you literally just migrated everything online, same as me? Oh, you've just muted.
Sorry, yeah, literally we've got a 2-day event tomorrow and the next day as well.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, more or less every month at the moment. It's an online event or a digital meetup or something like that. Yeah,
same as me. And then we had news last night, didn't we, from Boris Johnson with regards to indoor events, outdoor events. So, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
There was light at the end of the tunnel. There was news last week about the vaccine. So this is all positive, and we're moving forward. So look, I can see more and more people joining us. I knew this would be a popular session. It's literally doubled since we started, which is awesome. Thank you, Edwin. Lucy is amazing. I'm looking forward to this. She runs a fantastic conference called Social Day. That's where I think I've heard of you from. Your conference.
Edwin's our photographer at Social Day as well. So.
There you go.
Good to see
All
you.
comments coming in. Right. Well, look, I will let you present your slides, and I'll be here the whole time, as I say, to check. Kasim is his roadie. I will hit to answer any questions and position them to Lucy as well. So, yeah, if you'd like to start, Lucy, I'll hand over the reins to you, and I'll be here the whole time as well.
Thank you so much. So good to see everybody. I'm really excited about this session. So today we are going to take it back to the beginning with social media. So we're not going to go straight into tactics. We're going to learn about how to create a social media content plan so that you know what kind of content to create for your social media channels and when to create it. So you're not rushing around every day thinking, what on earth should I post on social media? You know exactly what it's going to be, and then you'll know how to measure the effectiveness of that content as well. We'll have a look at what type of content works really well and what kind of things that you can say on social media. And we will look a little bit at LinkedIn and Twitter and LinkedIn and Facebook and Instagram as well. We won't dive deep into channels today. We're going to look at the content you're going to create for those channels. So is everybody ready? Great. And feel free to ask questions as we go through. And at the end of the session, I'll be more than happy to answer them all for you. Okay? Great. So here we go then. So I'm just checking that everybody can see my screen and not me. Yeah? Okay, good. So I'm going to turn my camera off so you can just see my screen. Okay, awesome. Okay, so yeah, today we're going to learn about getting started with social media marketing, learning to increase your awareness and to make more sales. And my name's Lucy. As you can see, I'm founder of Digital Women's Social Day and that kind of thing. And I'm also a Facebook Blueprint lead trainer as well, among other things. So today you should be able to understand in this session quite a lot of information. So do get your pen and paper out and start scribbling. You'll learn how to create a plan of content for your social media channels. Plus you're going to learn about setting your goals for social media activity to ensure measurability. So it's really important that you have goals in place so you know whether you have been successful or not successful. We'll look at revisiting our target audience that we're going to use for our social media content creation, understanding content best practices, creating a unique business personality. So that's how you come across and your tone of voice on social media. Create a short list of content ideas that you can use in your content plan and on your social media channels. We're going to look at creating that content plan. How do we put it together? What kind of content goes into it, and then looking at tools you can use to create and organize social media content, and then of course testing and measuring the effectiveness of that social media content. So looking at whether it worked, whether the goals we set, we hit them, or whether we didn't hit them. So first of all, it's really important, and you can go into as much detail as you like here, or you can just write down some simple goals if you're just getting started. It's really important that you understand your social media goals for each platform. So it's really important that you know what it is that you really want to achieve from social media, rather than just going, oh yeah, I know, I just want to get more sales. Quite frankly, a lot of the time, you're not going to just go straight onto social media and make sales right away unless you're really good with your advertising strategy. But to build up an organic audience on social media, what you really want to do is think about this as a long-term strategy rather than something that's going to get you sales right away. And I know as a startup business, you don't want to hear that. You don't want to hear that it's going to take you quite a while to build up a profile, to start selling and start getting new customers, but that's the way it works. Anything worth doing is worth doing properly, and if it was easy, everybody would just do it. So think about the goals that you have for your social media marketing, because it's just one part of the puzzle, but it's such an important part nowadays. So for example, some goals might be that you're interested, that you want to increase your brand awareness, that you want to generate more leads and sales, increase community engagement, growing your audience, increasing traffic to your website. All of these things are good goals. Growing your audience is good only if it's the right audience though. So really think about what you want to do, and then really try and drive down into your goals a little bit further, drill down into your goals a little bit further, so that you can really understand what you want to achieve by then. Actually, it's really good to give yourself 3 months, for example. So you should say, in the next 3 months, I want to make sure that I have got a another 200 followers that are really relevant to my business, that are engaging with me really well, and perhaps I've increased sales by something like 15%. So just be really specific, really think about what you want to get from social media. It might be that you just want to generate some brand awareness to get your brand out there or your name out there, and that's fine, that's a good goal. Just having more followers isn't an amazing goal, but it is kind of a measure of whether, you know, the content you're creating is generating you more followers or more engagement and that kind of thing as well. So definitely make a note down of your goals before you get started. So we're going to look at goals, which we've just looked at, and then we're going to look at your audience. So just revisiting your target audience is really, really important. And this is something a lot of people don't do. And I'm sure you may have already done it. And if you have, just do this every time you go to create content for your social media channels. And the reason for this is because these are the people we really want to impress, right? Your customer is the person you're talking to. Your customer is the person who wants to take action or do something. So every time you go to create a social media post, think, right, what need does my typical customer have? What does my typical customer look like? And what motivates my typical customer? So what is going to make my customer take an action, buy something, engage with me, talk to me, and that kind of thing. So let's just drill into this quickly. So thinking about what need does my typical customer have? So here, we're thinking about what need does my product or service solve for my customer, and this is going to help you to get to the core benefit of your product or service. When we talk about the benefits, it's people are more likely to want to buy from us rather than whether we're just talking about the features and that kind of thing of the products that we have. Thinking about what does my typical customer look like? So what's the typical age of your customer? What's their gender? Do they have a certain education level? Do they have a certain level of income? This is all going to help you to understand how you're going to talk to people or where they're going to be hanging out, what social networks they're likely to be on, and that kind of thing. And then also thinking about what motivates your typical customer. So are they motivated by money or discounts? Are they motivated by friends' opinions, or are they motivated by customer service? So maybe money's not a thing, but it's more about the customer service and the way that they're treated and whether they're getting something really special. Really think about this, because at the end of the day, like I said a minute ago, this is the thing that is going to get people taking action. So when you really understand your customer, who they are, what they're interested in, and what makes them take action, you can create content that helps them to take that action on your posts as well. So it's good to put down a few examples of customer personas that you have, and you won't always just have one customer persona. You might have 2 or 3 different people that you're talking to. This is a great thing to do as well when you're creating advertisements, so you always know exactly who it is that you're talking to. It's really important. So for example, as an example, there's a women's fashion shop customer persona example here. This customer's need is that they want fashion that's on trend. The demographic is 18 to 34 years old. They earn over 30k a year, and they're motivated by on-trend clothing that is good quality and sustainable, but they like bargains and discounts as well. So these are the things they're motivated by. So these are the things that you might talk about to help them to take some action. Again, online jewelry shop customer persona example, they need a unique way to commemorate an important occasion. The demographic here is women earning over 75k a year, interested in fine jewelry, fashion, wedding magazines, wedding dresses, but they're not motivated by discounts or money or anything like that. They really want to know that they're getting that extra care for customer service. So this is the kind of thing that you might talk about to your customers on social media to help them to understand that that's what they're going to get, and helps to motivate them to want to take action and use you. So when we're looking at, that's just a quick overview of defining your audience. We're going to get into the fun stuff in a minute, I promise. But defining your audience is really important, because having a clearly defined audience means you'll be able to craft content in your social media content plan that is more likely to resonate and engage your customers, okay? So when you know who they are and you know who you're talking to, the content will be easy to create. So before you begin crafting any post at all, just think about these 3 questions to help you to define your target audience. What needs does my typical customer have? what does my typical customer look like and what motivates my typical customer. Have this in the back of your mind every time you create social media posts. So let's have a quick look at creating a business personality. So we've looked at our customer and who we're talking to and what motivates them. But as a business, you might also have a personality. And this is often referred to as a tone of voice, for example. So you might be an excitable, professional brand, or you might be a very serious and secure personality, for example, or very steady. But just understanding who your business is and what their personality is will also help you to create the right tone across your social media posts as well. So think of your business as a person. If your business was a person, what would they be like? How would they sound? Would they be warm and friendly, fun and enthusiastic, or serious and professional? Because this will help you to create the posts that sound like your brand. So we often talk about making your social media post the way they look, so that people can instantly recognize you. But how about the way they sound? Do you sometimes read a post to know, oh, that's this person, without even seeing the brand? That's when you know you've got the tone of voice right. So there's a little exercise that you can do. You can go away and do this later, and I will send a link to some downloads that you can use some of these things yourselves. So just write down some traits for your business, like, are you down to earth? Are you daring, spirited, imaginative, reliable, intelligent? Write down some core words that really describe who you are as a personality. Again, when you're creating content, you can make sure this is what comes across in that content. And you can also make some notes of brandisms and things you wouldn't say. So, for example, someone I know always says, hey, hey, on their social media post, but they would never say, hi, everybody, how are you? So they've put that in the brandism. They would say, hey, hey, and they would not say, hey, everybody, how are you? And with their own social media manager that they're using to create content for them as a personality, they would give that over to them. And so that person knows the things they should never say because it does not sound like that person. Just the same as if you were sending over the hex colors and the logos that people could use as well. Okay, so here's just a few examples of brands and what kind of words we would use to describe them. So Apple is sophistication. They've got a non-corporate, artistic, sophisticated and creative personality. Tesla is an exciting, visionary, charismatic, courageous, spiritual personality. Nike's excitement, active lifestyle, inspirational, exciting, and cool personality. And you'll notice that with these brands, this comes across in their social media posts. So you know who they are before you even see an image. And again, hallmark, sincerity, completely different personality of a well-liked, warm and respected family member. So if you nail this, it's going to really help you to create your social media content that exudes the personality of your brand. Again, if you're a personal brand and you're a service-based business that's starting up, this doesn't really relate as much, because what we're trying to do if you're a personal brand is just to be yourself. So you're not trying to be anybody else. You're trying to be yourself because you're trying to attract people to your consultancy or to your own service-based business. So I wouldn't worry about this too much, but if it's a brand that you've created, make sure that you think about the personality of your brand, because it might often be different to who you are as a person, and you may get somebody else to be creating the social media post for you on your behalf later on down the line. So a little exercise you could do is just rank these personality traits 1 to 5 and then work out some words, 3 words that best describe your personality, and talking about the words that don't as well. Because that's really important. If you're a jewelry brand that's very high class, for example, you may not want to describe yourself as outdoorsy and tough, for example. You might want to be upper class and up to date, for example. Okay, so we had a look at some of the core things that you can do before you jump into creating your social media content. And I just think it's really important that you have goals in place before you get started. And I think it's also really important that you understand who your customers are, because they're the people we want to impress. It's also really important to know how we sound on social media, to have a consistent tone of voice and, to help us to get our audience's attention and know who we are consistently without just having to look at images, but just by hearing or reading our voice. Okay, so now we're going to get into the fun stuff: content best practice, video best practices, channel best practices. We're just going to have a look a little bit at LinkedIn and Instagram. But again, we're not going to dive deeply into platforms. That would be, hours and hours and hours of training extra. So let's looking at content best practices, and please ask your questions as we go through and I will answer them all at the end. So when you're creating posts for social media, it's really important that you're using high quality creatives. So especially if we're trying to build a brand or we're trying to sell certain products and that kind of thing, people are going to be more likely to pause on, interact and respond positively to posts that include creative that captures their attention. And each post you have should include some type of creative, like images, GIFs, videos, that kind of thing. Making sure the creative assets are high quality is also important, and avoid using blurry images or videos or creative that doesn't accurately reflect your brand or message. Again, I don't think it's massively important to talk about algorithms in social media, but what it is important to talk about is that things like blurry images or low quality images on Instagram do get picked up by the algorithm. So these are things you should think about. They do get picked up by the algorithm and they will get shown to less people. The other thing is, people scroll perhaps like 2 miles or something like that of social media posts a day. So you want your content to really represent who you are and what you do and to be really high quality. It's not about creating 10 posts a day. It's just about creating really good content for your audience that is solving a problem for them, but actually looks really high quality, that you're proud to bear, that really represents you well. Make posts actionable. So when you're thinking about creating social media posts, think about what's the goal for these posts, and try different tactics to grab your audience's attention and drive them to take the actions that you really care about. So think back to your goals. What do you want people to do when you're creating this content? And it doesn't always have to be about you want somebody to buy something or click on a link or something like that. It could be that you just want to create conversation with people. To get direct actions, you could share articles or blogs from your website, provide links to newsletter sign-up forms, ask your fans to answer a question, which is a great way to create engagement, or just provide their opinions in the comment section of your posts. Creating engagement is a great way to get your customers talking to you, to find out what they really like and what they want, and also to bring them into the brand and into the conversation rather than you just speaking at them and telling them who you are and what you've got all the time. And while not every post you create needs to drive an action, actionable posts may help you to increase engagement and provide this real business value when the action you ask people to take is directly related back to your business goals. So thinking about all of these things when you're creating content is really, really important. And that's the difference between when you see tumbleweed on some people's social media posts and when you see others who are getting the likes, they're getting the comments, they're getting sales. It's because they're doing all of these things properly and they're thinking about the customer. Again, keeping posts simple is really important. So in general, simple posts with clean creative are best at capturing an audience's attention. Keep your colour scheme clean and consistent. Include images that are recognisable and use minimal, concise and impactful text. We'll take a little bit later in this as well at the at the pictures and the images that you can create. But if you're giving people one clear call to action or one clear thing that you want them to do or one clear thing you want to say, it stops them from being confused. Of course, you've got loads of things that you want to say and you've got loads of things going on. You've got a brand new business, right? But what you want to avoid is just trying to tell everybody everything in one post or posting everything in one day. That's why you're going to create a content plan so that you can put all of these messages out and share all of this fantastic content over time. Be consistent, really, really important. Using consistent colour palette across photos and videos. Try and put a brand book together. What is your colour scheme? What would you like to see? Before you start going into ads, which I know you've got a session next on, especially with Instagram, make sure that you've got at least 9 posts on your grid that look really good, that really represent your brand, because this is your shop front now. Don't forget, e-commerce is coming in to Instagram more and more, to all of the social networks more and more. You can sell products here. So make sure it's reflecting your brand properly, so people want to dive in and buy from you. Think about how you take photos or videos in a really distinct way so that your community recognizes your post immediately. Again, we talked about tone of voice, recognizing that immediately, how you're speaking. But what about how you look? Making sure that people know, yeah, I know who that is, because it's recognizable. And over time, people will begin to recognize your post before they even, clock that it's you or they see your brand name. So you can, for example, you could regularly post bird's eye shots or show before and after shots. And keep a consistent tone as well. Like we talked about this a minute ago, just when you're speaking to your community, it's not just the content you put out in your post that needs to be consistent. It's the captions. It's when you respond to comments or when you direct message people in your community. Just try and maintain a consistent tone when speaking to people on Instagram, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and that kind of thing. Don't sound like a robot. Sound like a person, because people want to speak to people, not robots. Your content should be recent, relatable, and meaningful. So recent, new, and frequent posts tell your audience that you're active, legitimate, and care about them as customers. And old or expired posts could imply your business isn't active or investing the time to drive business value. So this doesn't mean go and delete all your old posts. It means keep posting content regularly. That's why a content plan is so important, because it just means that customers can see what you're up to, they can see what you've got new, they can see you giving them great advice or great value and that kind of thing as well. People go onto Google, they type in something, they might find your website and think, oh, this looks really good, and then they click onto social media, because that's the next thing I always do. I click onto social media to see what this company's doing, if they're actually still running or they're actually still working or whatever. And if you see no social media posts, it's like tumbleweed and nothing's been posted for months, you think, actually, maybe I'll go and look at someone else or somewhere else. Whereas if you see this great content, you're more likely to start wanting to build a rapport with this company and buy from them. Again, your content should be relatable and meaningful. So the more relatable your content is, the more you'll be able to connect to your audience. And when potential customers see that you're posting content that really matters to them, they could be more likely to follow you or trust your business. And that means, then going back to that customer persona, what are the problems your customer has? And how can you help them? What can you say to make their day better? What can you say to help them with the problems that you have? Think about answering questions they might have or that kind of thing, because this is the way you're going to build trust, showing yourself as an authority on social media, but also as a friendly person that can speak to people and help them solve your problems. And I mean, one of the some of the best content you see actually is things you go, oh yeah, that's me. Does that make sense? It's really relatable. You think, oh, that's exactly me. And that makes you like it. And then you share it and then you tag your friends, because it's a very relatable piece of content and that it seems just like you. And it makes you think of that brand more as a friend rather than as just someone trying to sell you something. Again, looking at video quickly, you should optimize your video for mobile, because 79% of people are regularly using social media on a mobile device. This is really big. So you have to think about devices as well when you're creating your content for social media. So is it always best to create a horizontal video for social media? Perhaps not. So best practices with video: capture people's attention. Use the first 3 seconds to entice your viewers with the most compelling thumb-stopping visual. Like I said, people are scrolling 2 miles a day of content. So what you want to make sure of is that you can make people go, wow, and stop on that content and start to engage with it if possible. It's got to stand out from everything else on their feed. Showcase your brand or product immediately so the viewer understands the why of the ad. So if you're creating an ad, make sure that people understand what this ad is about very quickly into it. If you're creating a piece to camera and it's this nice content, it's a little bit different, but always include captions if you are doing a piece to camera. But if you're selling a product, you want people to take an action on your ad on social media, make sure they understand what this ad is about. And of course, keep it short. Short videos on the feed and longer content. When you're creating video, always create video for the sound off. So basically, when you're scrolling through Facebook, most people are watching without sound. So if there's just a person to camera and we don't know what they're saying, it's just going to be useless for people. So make sure you communicate your story really visually, so it's equally effective with or without sound. So adding captions and subtitles can be really helpful, and incorporating visual elements like graphics, text, overlays, and animations to highlight what really matters could also work really well for video as well. Also with video, frame your video vertically. I know this is not a vertical image there, so it's kind of not quite the right picture, but just try and opt for vertical aspect ratio to fill the screen, because people are using their mobile phone, so it's going to give your customers the best experience possible, especially with stories now such a big way to engage people, and a big place for people to buy products now. Making sure that your video for mobile is optimized properly is so important. And experiment with creative ways to use a vertical canvas, like splitting the screen, using the Ken Burns effect, panning and zooming with larger frame to create the illusion of movement and that kind of thing. Don't just think anymore, let's just create a video that's horizontal and like it would be on YouTube, for example. Just think outside the box a little bit. How can I really engage my users in a more of an in-depth way? And innovate and play. So captivate the viewer's attention with unexpected visual treatments and an act of interacting with the audience directly, and use animated text and graphics. You might think with all of this you need a designer to do it for you, or you need to spend a lot of money. This is not true. You're a startup. Okay, so sometimes budgets are tight, or can't all be spent on video and social media content and that kind of thing. There are some amazing apps and tools out there now that you can use to do it yourself on a budget. So do have a look and play around with them if you can. And remember, your mobile phone is your best friend for creating content. Okay, so just a quick look at content best practice for some of the platforms. So I've just done a quick look at LinkedIn. So there's obviously, you've got your LinkedIn personal profile, which is a great way to build your personal brand and get leads in. And then you've got LinkedIn page posts as well. And LinkedIn pages are great for building an audience around your brand or your business. So don't forget about this. Often people say, oh, I just use my LinkedIn personal profile, I don't use my page. Pages can be a great way to let people know more about your brand and speak as your brand with your brand's personality. Because here you can share company updates, share articles, papers, slideshows, and so much more. So it's really worth looking at LinkedIn pages if you can, to highlight your business and connect with the right people. And with LinkedIn profile posts, you can add photos or video, media to help you to tell a story. When you do create profile posts, try and tell a story and be honest, ask questions, don't be promotional. Try and include a lesson that you learn or something like that really brings people into your story and your business story. Of course, LinkedIn isn't going to be the right platform for everybody, just as Facebook isn't going to be right for everyone, just like Instagram isn't going to be right for everyone. So it's about working out which social networks you can spend the most time on, you enjoy creating content for, and of course that your target audience are there and you're having conversations with them. But you will work this out over time as you create your plan. Always ensure your content is valuable, and use 1 to 3 relevant hashtags as well when you're creating posts on LinkedIn. Now we have LinkedIn stories as well, which is, we have now, I think on every single platform we have stories, because Twitter's just got their own stories called fleets. So LinkedIn Stories is a recent new feature. It's a great way to show more of the behind the scenes content and more opportunities to be seen, as it's so new. So actually, by adding content to your stories on LinkedIn or on Fleets, Twitter, and that kind of thing, it's just a great place for you to be able to post more often, for example, because you don't want to be posting 3 or 4 times a day on your normal social networks. But it's also a great way to show that behind the scenes content that you don't feel quite right sharing on your feed as well. Quick look at Instagram. So again, Instagram stories are a fantastic way to engage people, to chat to people, to build an audience. You can use all kinds of great things like stickers, which help people to discover you better. So you can use hashtag stickers. You can use the small business stickers. You can also use filters, so you can create fun content with face filters, especially if you're a personal brand. This could be quite fun if you're speaking to camera as well, but also if you're interviewing people and that kind of thing. You can obviously mention other people by using the @tag. And with poll stickers, you can create polls and do Q&As with people and create like groups in your DMs and that kind of thing. So yeah, Instagram stories are a great way to start engaging people, whereas your feed is more of a place to create that fantastic content that entices people in to buy. Your stories are a place to show people your real business story behind the scenes. A quick look at Instagram Reels, again, another quite a new feature to Instagram, kind of got the TikTok vibe. It's a place where you can share fun videos, you can record and edit 15-second multi-clip videos with audio effects and new creative tools. I've created some fun reels that I've actually downloaded and used as ads on my other social networks, which has been really, really good as well. So if you have a product that you want to show off, or if you want to create some really fun, engaging content, Reels is a great place to do that. And Instagram just feels like it's got everything at the moment. So again, just looking at the anatomy of an Instagram post, you have your profile picture, your photo, video, or collection, and your caption. This is all very simple information. We're going to get onto the content plan in a minute. So creating the content caption should look something like telling a great story. You can use emojis in your post, ask a question or make a suggestion to people, tag people if it's relevant. Don't over tag because it really annoys people if you tag them and it's not relevant to them. And use hashtags. Hashtags are really, really important to Instagram. But now there's a new feature just being released, and that's going to be a keyword search as well. So hashtags although people will still use hashtags, they'll be able to search for just general keywords, like for example social media and that kind of thing, where it's not just a hashtag. So you'll want to optimize your captions for that as well. So some examples of hashtags you could use, for example, red shoes, sewing, food, dogs, beach holiday. And the trick is to use a few hashtags, mix them up every time to try and work out what hashtags work best for your content. Don't put hashtags for the sake of it if it's not relevant to the content that you're posting. Okay, so we've been through a lot in 30 minutes, right? We have talked about customer personas, your goals. We've talked about business personality, content best practices. We've talked about a little bit about LinkedIn and Instagram. Sorry, we don't have time to talk about all the social networks today, but maybe next time we'll go into them in more detail. But now it's time to actually put together that content plan. So now you've got the foundations of everything you need, really, to go and create a content plan so you can work out what content you want to create and when you want to create it and when you want to post it, right? So looking at content ideas. So what can you post on social media, the elements of a content plan, and how to create that content, how to go off and create that content once you've done that plan. So the first thing that I normally do when creating a content plan is I get it all out of my brain and I brainstorm all of the posts that I want to create for social media, all of the things that I've got coming up. Have I got a sale come out? Is it Valentine's Day soon? When is Christmas? What content can I create for that? Is it Black Friday? Right, what content do I need to create for Black Friday? Get it all on a piece of paper and then think about what type of content you can create around that post. So there's different things that you can do. I'm going to give you a few examples just now of the type of content you could create on your social media channels. So you could run a giveaway, so you could run a contest or a giveaway that encourages more likes, comments and shares by announcing a giveaway that incentivizes people's participation, and at the end of the week you could pick a winner from a group of people who shared your post and congratulate them in an entirely new post, and consider announcing a future contest or giveaway that your audience should stay tuned for. Again, caveat, that's not great for everybody. It's going to work for some people, especially if you're product based and it's a really targeted product that goes to a very targeted audience as well. Running a challenge. So this is something that is great for service-based businesses that want to start building an audience quite quickly. You could run a challenge. So create a challenge for your audience and ask them to complete it within a set amount of time. And this will give you an opportunity to keep creating and sharing posts and highlight the challenge and support for your customers. So you could do like the 5 days of makeup, different makeup looks challenge or something. And people have to put the makeup on and then share it on social media and use your hashtag, for example. And then you start building this following up and other people see other people doing the challenge and they want to get involved. So it's a really fun thing and a really good way to create some buzz around your own social media channel. Sharing testimonials. This might seem really simple, but it can be really exciting and uplifting when people say kind words about your work. So share some in moderation, so the rest of your audience can celebrate with you. When I say in moderation, this is not something you want to do every day, because at the end of the day, think about your social media channels. It's not all about you and how great you are. It's about them and how you can help them and how you can solve their problems. Ask for feedback. So one way to generate feedback on your products, services, or business in general is just to leverage feedback from your page fans or your community, or whoever they are. The added benefit is you might choose to use the feedback to improve your business a bit, generating more transparency and openness with your audience as you create that brand trust as well. So just asking people, if you already have a bit of a social media following, what they think can really help bring them into your brand and not make them feel like they're separate from it. Again, asking the audience to make a choice, and a fun method to engage your audience when you don't necessarily have something business specific to share is to ask your audience to just make a choice. Which one's your favorite? Do you like the red dress or the blue dress best? When you set your fans up with a friendly this or that question, you can just spark an interest that invites them to respond. Again, posing a question, and a simple way to start a dialogue with your audience is just to ask them a pointed question like, how are they feeling that day, or what their weekend plans that they're excited for are. And when your audience relates to the questions you ask and you leverage their interests and needs, they may feel more inclined to respond and generate threads on your post. I absolutely love this one. I do it a lot in my own communities. One thing I ask is, how do you feel today? And I put several different types of emojis on, so people don't have to think too much about a long reply. And it will be like a love heart for I'm feeling great, and it will be like a blue heart for I feel terrible, for example. And people will just put their emojis in the box and let me know how they're feeling, and then we get a general idea of how people are feeling, and we can start to engage with them and see if we can help them on their day, which again builds trust. Sharing industry updates, a very easy and simple one. Sharing news from your industry will communicate to your audience that you don't just care about promoting your business, but that you also care about keeping your customers informed about current topics that is relevant to them as well. So news that's of interest possibly to your community, share it. It's a great way. Or even better, don't just share it, read it first and put your own spin on it or a bit of comment onto that as well. One of my favourites is celebrating special dates. I mean, this is not for everybody, okay? And not all the special dates for everybody, but go into a holiday calendar and see what types of holidays could really work for you to tap into with social media posts. So holidays either nationally recognised or trending on social media are just opportunities for you to contribute to the celebration with a social media post of your own. So there's Best Friends Day, International Women's Day, or Pet Day. So I have a community called Digital Women on International Women's Day. This is big for us. So we create an event around that day, and we have a lot of content around International Women's Day highlighting, women who are doing remarkable things. If you're a vet, Pet Day is something you could create content around and tap into people talking about their pets, give you some more visibility with the right target audience. And these are all light-hearted openings to celebrate common interests among your audience. And these celebrations may vary depending on where you're located as well. So make a note of these in your calendar, and if you think there's something coming, there's something coming up, like we know it's Christmas coming up, you can start creating content for Christmas now, or even better, a month ago, and you can start creating content now for Valentine's Day and get it into your planner so you know what you need to create for them. Okay, so quick recap. We've looked at all of the things: setting goals, customer profile, brand personality, tone of voice, post content best practices, social media post ideas, and now it's into the real fun stuff, creating a content plan. So your content plan helps you to decide on the visuals and wording, determine when to schedule the posts, and also your plan is going to help your business to post consistently on social media. And it can be as simple as this: what date are you going to post the content? What type of content theme, or what theme are you going to create? What theme is your content going to be about? What's the format going to be? What's the visual going to be? And what's the caption going to be? And we're going to dive into that, except date, because the date and time is like when you're going to post it. So it's very simple. This is a simple content plan. There are more detailed ones available, and I'm more than happy to share a link to some if you want after this session as well. So the theme, So what are you theming your content around? Is it an inspirational post, funny, frequently asked questions? Is it a product promo? Is it behind the scenes? By having a theme for each of your posts will help you to make sure you're mixing up your content. Because if you're just doing all product promo posts, then you need to think, actually, is this the best thing for my audience? Is this what's going to help my audience? It's probably not. So you want to mix it up and add maybe more behind the scenes stuff in. Maybe you want to add more funny posts in, or more frequently asked questions, or news posts, or competitions, and that kind of thing. So really think about adding lots of different themes into your content plan, so it's not just all about product promotion. And then the format is easy again. Are you going to create a video? Is it a GIF? Is it an image? Is it a link? Is it a live stream? Is it a story? Is it a reel? Because we've got all of these new things now, of course. So what format is the content going to be in? Again, the caption. So the next part of your content plan is, what is it that I need to say, and what does my visual look like? So knowing that people move through content quickly, it's really important to ask yourself, what is the most important message I need to deliver in this post? And if your objective is brand, you need to ensure your message delivers that clearly, quickly, and with impact. And if your objective is conversion, you need to focus on your product or service that you provide. So when you write that caption, think in the back of your mind, what do I want people to do? And then write the caption here. And if you want to tell a story, just tell a story. But always think, what do I want people to go away thinking or feeling or doing from this message? And again, the visual, you're just describing what type of visual you're going to create. And that will be like, for example, I'm going to create a video that explains to people how to use this brand new kitchen equipment that I've created, for example. And then once you've put all of this content into your content plan, you know what you're going to post, when you're going to post it, and how you're going to do it, you can then go off and create all of that content. You can sit down and create the content. So one of the things that I like to use to create content in is Canva, for example. You can batch create content visuals based on your plan. So for example, here for our event, we batched to create the content. We had a designer create a template for us, and then we reused it for different people. Use images that represent your brand. So use images that represent your brand if you're unable to create your own content and images. So Canva Pro includes thousands of free high quality images, as does Unsplash, and there are hundreds of apps available. So in your phone, there's loads of apps available to help you to create video content and image-based content as well. You can create your own DIY studio at home. Here's an example of somebody who's done that.
To make our photos, we have a little room here, and we're with a very small setup because we want to promote the DIY side of the business, and we create the content by ourselves every week, every day with our community manager.
Instagram is the perfect network to show our brand identity to consumer.
So that's just a quick video to show you what they do. They literally just have a little area inside of their office where they just take photos and create content. It's something you can do very easy. So here's some more things that you can consider including in your home studio if you're going to create something at home or in your office. A simple backdrop. You could use a piece of fabric or just a piece of white paper to make your subject of your shot stand out. A light such as a ring light, that's something I'm using now on my desk. A little ring light on the desktop just helps to enhance the quality of the photos because the lighting's better, or the lighting's better in the video. It makes the photo quality better. You can use things like reflectors. You can use material reflecting light onto the subject, such as a piece of metal or fabric. A camera, obviously, so you can use your phone or a DSLR. A tripod is a really great way to keep your camera still as well, and just making sure it's a quiet background so people can hear you clearly and effectively as well. And getting to know your smartphone is really important. Everything that you can do on desktop or laptop, you can also do on your smartphone. Have fun creating the content. Have fun, really get stuck into it and start trying to create the things that you want to that are on your content plan. And then set about creating your plan. So now that we kind of know what it is that we need to do, it's about sitting down and putting a plan together so that you can determine when you're going to schedule your posts, what you're going to create, what wording you're going to use, what images you're going to use, and then you'll become consistent with your social media content creation. And planning your content will save you time and help you to reach your business goals. So what I'd like you guys to do, if you can, is go away after this and create your own content plan. And then go and create the images and the content that you've put into your plan as well. And And then when you've done that, you'll start to see, when you start posting consistently on social media, you'll start to see that you'll start to get more engagement. And then when you do, make sure you're always engaging with your community. Make sure you acknowledge them when they talk to you, help them to feel involved in your content. And then you can scale your social media content after that with ads. So once you've got your organic strategy down and you know exactly who you're talking to and what content resonates with them, that's a good time to start creating ads. So I know your next session is on ads. So when you know all of this stuff, your ads will become much easier to do. Again, when you start paid ads, you will want to make sure that you know your goals, your value proposition, your customer persona, business personality. Be consistently posting on social media organically. And I'm not going to go too much into Facebook ads, but just looking at measuring success. So once you've been creating content on a regular basis, you'll start to see when you post things that receive a lot of likes or comments, it normally means that it's because it was personal or meaningful to your audience. So start keeping track of your posts in your content plan. You can add more columns to your plan to see how much reach your plan got, how much engagement your content got, what content worked really well this month, and almost look at it every month and go, right, this worked and this didn't. So next month I'm going to do more of this and less of this. Maybe I'm going to try something new as well. And that's it from me. So I hope that was helpful, and I hope that is a good steer on how you can get started with creating content for social media and how you can start engaging your audience by understanding who it is that they are and creating content for them that they're really going to resonate with as well. Oh, there you are. Hi. And if anybody's got any questions, please feel free to ask them. I know that was a lot of information in like 50 minutes, but...
Still writing. That was really, really good. Thank you very much indeed, Lucy. We've got comments and questions in here. I've got one to start with. So I'm from a podcasting background, so I help people create podcasts, different brands, different entrepreneurs. And for me, whether you've got, whatever your pillar content is, be that a podcast, be that a vlog, YouTube channel, be that a blog, how many times do you think you'd be comfortable for people posting about that, and how often should you mix that up instead of Monday to Sunday, literally going, this new episode's coming out, here's the new episode. That was a past episode we had. Here's another episode that's coming out. I mean, how often do you think that there is a balance, or does it depend on your audience? And
Yeah. So there's no silver bullet. So if anyone tells you that they've got the silver bullet, they don't. They might have the silver bullet for their thing that they're doing, but they don't have it for your thing. So ideally, that's where a content plan comes into place, because you can put all of these things into your content plan and then perhaps go off, create it and schedule it. And then over time, you'll see what content is being engaged with the most, what content is being clicked on the most, when it's being clicked on the most. And you can kind of work out, nobody likes me to post this same thing 3 times a week because they're clicking on the first day. On the third day, they're not. So maybe I'll start showing this a bit less. Maybe I'll do this, share this again next month. So it's all about what's working for you in your content plan, looking back over it and just doing a little bit of analysis basically to find out what works. You can try doing it. You can try doing whatever you like. You can try posting it every single day. You can try posting it 10 times a day. You're only going to know if that's working by looking at your data and seeing if it's hitting the goal that you wanted it to hit when you created your objectives in the first place.
And we see these different social media platforms taking each other's functions, and we saw it way back when Facebook were trying to copy Snapchat, trying to buy Snapchat, and in the end they just replicated all of the different functions. How much do we need stories in our life on every single platform, do you think?
Look, so for a lot of people, it's unpopular. They don't like it and they think, oh, just another place to create content, or this is not, why have we got it here? It's rubbish. At the end of the day, the stories format works. People love stories. They're engaged by them. They click through to other stories. And, although it's personal preference, everybody looks at content differently, and you don't have to create stories for every single platform. But, where you are creating behind the scenes content that you wouldn't normally post on your feed, for example, then I think I think do it on the platforms that you're on, because it is another way for people to see you and see who you are behind the scenes as a real person. Of course, you know, like I said, you don't have to do it across the board on everything. That's one of the mistakes people make, is they go, right, I'm all in on all social networks. Then you don't have time to actually run your business, because all you're doing is social media, basically.
Exactly. Yeah. And personally, I find it really easy. I prefer utilizing like stories, because you're just documenting your day, really. Like you're saying, giving people a snapshot into the behind the scenes, you know, your life, get to know the person behind the brand a little bit better. So I do like that. And I'm sure LinkedIn's will improve. It's just pretty clunky at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's not none of them are as good as Instagram stories yet, but I'm sure over time these will develop and get their own, you know, their own kind of way to them and their own thing, you know. But definitely, like you were saying, it's so easy to create story content because it's just behind the scenes stuff, isn't it? It's what's going on right now, showing a snapshot of your life, and you don't always want to put that type of content on your grid or on your feed, do you?
No, exactly. So I'm going to whip through comments and questions here. So Paola says, I totally agree with Edwin. A few minutes into this presentation, and I already know this is going to be an info-packed and constructive session. Well, I got 3 pages down. AJ, do you make the presentation available for download? So I've posted up there a link for all of our past webinars. I think there's about a 24-hour lag from this platform that we're on to get them and post them up for you. But you can go back and see last week's, for example, that ties in nicely with this would be the Brendan Kane webinar, for example. The Rowena Bird one with Lush, we talked about their decision to come off of all social media platforms a year ago and then decide halfway into the pandemic to revisit that decision because their audience wanted to find out more about what they were doing on social media. So I love seeing big companies like that put their hands up and go, we made a mistake, we're back on. I thought that was really interesting answer from Rowena. Alexander, you mentioned apps and software to create content that doesn't cost an arm and a leg. Could you give some examples? So Lucy mentioned Canva, which we use as well. Anything else you want to throw into that, Lucy, that you find that's either new or particularly useful at the moment?
Yeah, I mean, so for me, Canva is excellent because you can do videos in there, you can do images, you can do GIFs, animations, and that kind of thing. So it's kind of like a really good all-rounder, and most people know how to use it. So if you share templates with them, they should be able to edit them and that kind of thing as well. But there are so many apps on your phone that you can use to create stories, like Story Swag will help you to create nice story ads. You've got Word Swag, which is it's an oldie but a goodie. I mean, it's great if you just want to create a quote post that looks really nice, or, a piece of information that you want to get out really quickly, and you can make it on brand because you can choose the right colors and that kind of thing. But there's so many that what I would do personally is I would just go onto your phone, type in the App Store, image creation apps, social media apps, that kind of thing, and see what comes up and just have a play. But there's so many, and I do have a list somewhere that I might be able to share with you after. I think I've created a blog on this before, so I'll be able to share it.
Thanks. I think you've got a super fan in AJ who says you'd like to start up a business with you as a co-founder. Let you carry on that conversation offline. Astrid says, what is the reasonable time frame for a business to consider for growing the audience for a service business that's recently just started to adopt social media as a strategy? And then there's a secondary point to that, how to generate quality leads from social media growth. I mean, you could be here all day, couldn't you? But I'll let you maybe answer the first one at least, and maybe give a few pointers.
Okay, yeah. So there's loads of tactics, obviously, that you can use on social media to be able to generate leads. But the first thing you need to do is establish your credibility and authority, and that can take quite a long time. So, and I don't mean years and years and years. It's about thinking strategically, right? Who do I want? Like I said, if you go through this plan and you look at who do I want to attract, who am I talking to, what content do I need to create, and really start thinking about the quality of your content and the audience that you're aiming at, you will build your audience quicker organically. Okay, if you want to get leads and sales fast, ads are the way to go. Okay, but you may not then be building that community that may be buying off you and talking to you and conversating with you over time, if that makes sense. So have 2 parts to your strategy: the organic strategy that may take 3 months, it may take 6 months, it may take 5 years, But at the same time, you're running ads and you're thinking of, you have a budget that you're using to run ads to try and get sales and generate leads more quickly.
Yeah, I agree. I think, and it's interesting, like chatting to the likes of Rowena Bird from Lush and Lord Billamoria from Cobra Beer earlier in the week, and Anthony Fletcher from Grays. They all said, take it slow, grow organically. Like Lucy says, you can buy traffic by using paid ads, and that will be our next session in 1 hour as well. But as Lucy says, the quality of that audience, you can't guarantee it compared to organically growing it and getting engagement and nurturing that audience yourself. Paola says, excellent session. Many thanks, Alex, for inviting the fabulous Lucy. So much strategic and practical advice and tips. Definitely, this is one of the best sessions so far. That seems a common thread. Jada says, do you have templates to help us focus on these things? I struggle to focus. So you've got my social media planner.co.uk. Is that a good link to post people? I can post up here.
Yeah, you can. So that's so Digital Women's obviously got loads of free resources on it. My social media planner.co.uk is the site for this 2021 planner, which actually is the planner with everything I talked about. It's got everything in that planner, so you can build your social media. You can actually just build your whole strategy in there and work out what content you're going to post every week and every month. And it's got all the awareness dates in it. But I do have downloads of this as well. So if afterwards I can send you an email with all of the links to things people can download for free, then there will be a template there that you can use.
Okay, cool. And Astrid, thank you, Lucy. This is one of the best sessions so far I've attended on social media. Do you have the content planner and tracker template? So Lucy's just answered that. A couple of last questions if you've got time, Lucy, if you've got a minute to answer these. Great. If you're just starting social media marketing and you've only just set up your account on Instagram, Facebook, etc., what is the best approach to start finding and attracting your first users? For example, trying to attract students age 11 to 25 years old. That's a good question, Tony. Thank you.
That's a really good question. Again, you know who your audience are. So it's about, first of all, you want to start looking at where they're hanging out, like what kind of other people are they engaging with? Who are your competitors? Are they engaging with your competitors? What content are your competitors posting, basically, that they're engaging with? Scroll through your feed, look at the students you want to attract, and look at how they're talking to each other and what kind of things they're getting excited about, and comment on their posts and like their posts and build like engagement with them as well. So it is like a lengthy process, but it's worth doing. And again, from figuring out who your customers are, you'll be able to start creating content that really resonates with them and start pulling them into your own profile. If you start liking and commenting on their content because you're genuinely interested in building that connection with them, they're going to come and look at you and they're going to go, wow, this is cool. This content's exactly what I like and what I want. I'm going to follow you as well. Does that make sense?
100%, absolutely, and I wholeheartedly agree with that. And it's not, some people get this wrong, don't they? When they go and, like you said, go and whoever you follow, go and look at what they're doing. Don't copy what they're doing, but model that relevant to your audience and your content and your messaging and your tone of voice, all of the things that you mentioned. But it can be time consuming, but I think it's a really relevant exercise to do, maybe between now and the end of the year, between now and Christmas, planning, getting all your ducks lined up in a row for 2021.
Yeah, one thing, another little tip that I like to do as well is when I'm scrolling through my Instagram feed or my LinkedIn feed or whatever, I'm doing that like 2 miles a day scrolling thing. What I'll do is I see something that I stop on, I think that's cool, I screenshot it and I look back over all the posts that I've screenshotted and figure out why was this so good? Why is it so interesting? And then that helps me to form the next stages of our content plan and what we're going to post that might be interesting. Yeah,
I had a good one from Russell Brunson from ClickFunnels, who was like, pick 5 subjects that you're passionate about and make photo albums on your phone. And every time you take a photo, stick it in there. So for me, it's like podcasting, it's entrepreneurship, it's, health and well-being, it's family. Can't remember the 5th one, but that kind of thing might break it up a little bit for you rather than just opening your phone and you've just got...
Yeah, because that one's really busy. But yeah, you could just call them like inspiration folder or something. Yeah. Put inspiration in there, for example, yeah.
Okay, got a couple more to finish off. I'll try and be quick. Lester, or should we stay consistent with organic posts to appeal to all, but then do more specific targeting with ads?
So actually, it depends. So should we stay consistent with organic posts that appeal to all? So I have various different levels of people that I target and talk to, from marketers to small business owners and that kind of thing. And every time I create a post, I make sure I understand who that post is aimed at. It doesn't mean that people who are it doesn't mean that somebody who works in a brand is going to unfollow me because I'm talking about a small business. It just means I'm mixing up the content to appeal to different people. So every time I post, I'm thinking about a different person that I'm posting for. But, you know, it is another strategy or another tactic that you can use, whereby you just create, you know, kind of vanilla content that's aimed at everybody. Not vanilla content, but just like, you know, average content that is aimed at everybody. And then with your ads, you can target more specific people with just more specific copy. So the answer to your question is, I think, try both and see what works best for you. Does that make sense? Because I can't, it's going to be different for everybody. I can't answer for you. For me, I would create, like I said, I would create content for everybody, but individually, and use ads to target individual people. So mix it up, see what works, make a note of it.
Brilliant. Okay, well, look, we've ran 5 minutes over, but
Sorry.
no, it's me. So thank you all very much for attending. That seems to have been super popular. I'm just seeing all the attendees and all the great comments. So look, thank you all very much indeed. Lucy, I've just connected with you on LinkedIn. What's the best place for people can connect? I've also posted up my social media, planner.co.uk, and I've posted up digitalwomen.live.
Thank you.
Good links. Anywhere else that best place for people to find out a little bit more? I can post up your LinkedIn as well if that's helpful.
Yeah, cool. So yeah, there's I've got my own website, which is lucysHall.com, or on Twitter I'm at Lucy S Hall, or on Instagram I'm lucy.shall, and then obviously there's Social Day, which is our social media marketing festival, which is supporting this event as well, I believe. And yeah, so there's loads of places to find me if you want to come and say hi. But I love Instagram most, and Instagram stories. So lucy.shall, do screenshot this if you want to, and then tag me in your stories, and I'll reshare it and say hi, and we can connect there. Yeah,
best way I've been saying all week is exactly as you say. Just screenshot, and then you've got that on your phone again to be able to reconnect. So thank you, Lucy. Everybody else, if you'd like to rejoin me here in just over 50 minutes, I'm going to be hosting Ollie Whittle for our next session. We're going to be talking creating successful Facebook and Instagram ads that get sales. Ollie's great. He's done about 4 or 5 sessions for us, the Festival of Enterprise, over the last since March, since the pandemic. Always really, really popular. And knows what he's talking about. So come and join us in just over 50 minutes. Lucy, thank you once again.
Thank you so much. Catch you again soon. Take care.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.